Welcome back into the Bettor Half Hour, my favorite segment where we bring you veterans in the sports betting space winning more than they're losing. You've seen him crush on this show before. He's a part of the DraftKings Sportsbook family, DraftKings analyst, Julian Edlow. Julian, great to be with you, my friend.
Yeah, great to be back, Alex. Thanks for having me.
All right, we're sleeves rolled up on March Madness. Julian, want to get your thoughts. What's the most intriguing matchup in the first round from your point of view?
I think this one's easy. 13-seeded South Dakota State Jackrabbits. Everybody ready to tail them coming into this tournament. Didn't lose a conference game in a row against a 4-seeded Providence Friars team that everybody calls the luckiest team in the country. They can't wait to fade them. Did Providence get a little lucky in the regular season? Sure, they got some fortunate bounces, but hey, guess what? It also takes skill to win in crunch time and to finish the top seed in the Big East. This team is good. Now you're getting a near pick'em here, a 2-point spread against South Dakota State. South Dakota State's been favored in every game since December 15th. They've been steamrolling Summit League competition, but they also lost to Missouri State, failed to cover that game. They did win by 3 as an underdog against Washington State, their only underdog win of the season. The most comparable team or game I can find here for South Dakota State is when they played Alabama. 12.5-point underdogs. They lost by 16. I don't think they're ready for this competition. Providence is being slighted. I love Providence on the money line to advance when everybody's taking them as the trendy 13 pick.
I love that. Well, you kind of mentioned already an underdog there, but is there an underdog in the first round that you're particularly looking at that can even win outright?
Yeah, so in terms of underdogs, what is an underdog? Michigan's an 11 seed playing against a 6. Well, they're favored by 2.5 points. Virginia's another 11 seed, only a 1.5-point underdog. Those are teams that I like. They're upsets in the bracket, but I don't know if they're upsets from the sports book. So to look at the sports book side of things, 2 really low seeds that I think I'll be betting on to cover, maybe some money line sprinkles. Chattanooga is a really good team. They just got by at the buzzer to win their conference tournament, but they can give Illinois some problems, keep that game close. So I like the 7.5 there, and I like 7.5 with Colgate. Everybody loved them last year against Arkansas. It was a terrible matchup for Colgate. Now they get a much slower paced Wisconsin team. I think they can keep that one tight. So those are 2 low seeds at 7.5 points that I think can cover.
And speaking on 9 seeds or higher that you think could even make a run to the Sweet 16 or more, is there any high seeds that you think could run the table?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you a couple that I like as 9 seeds. I think TCU beats Seton Hall, but Arizona after that is too much to ask. I love Loyola Chicago as a 10 seed to get past Ohio State. I don't know if they have enough to necessarily win a second game, though. So guess what? I'm going to bend the rules a little bit here. 8-seeded UNC. Is that close enough for you? I think they're going to win that first-round game over Marquette, and then they have Baylor in the next round. That's a loaded bracket. I think UNC, if they advance, they're going to give Baylor a game in the second round and have a chance to win it.
And how about a 1 seed or a 2 seed, Julian? We know statistically they end up getting to the Final Four more times than not, but is there a 1 or 2 seed you think that could have trouble, maybe even get upset in the early rounds?
I'm sticking in the Big 12 there. We just talked about them. Kansas is kind of a weird bracket in that Midwest region, but Baylor is the toughest one. They've got injury issues with one of their top guards out for now. We'll see if he comes back, and LJ Cryer. They got one of their big men out, and they just have a tough draw. There's a reason Kentucky is favored in this bracket. I have Kentucky making it to the national title game. And then, like I said, UNC could push them in the second round. They got a tough seed, 4 seed UCLA that went to the Final Four last year that can beat them in the Sweet 16 if they get there. I think Baylor's got really tough games as soon as they get to the second round and on.
And Julian, we know sometimes the committee misseeds or improperly sets up certain teams at certain numbers. Is there any misseeded teams there's some value on, or teams going against teams that are higher than they should be that you're noticing and dialing in on?
Yeah, the committee usually does a pretty good job. I already talked about Providence, so I won't go there. But, 4 seed after winning the Big East, a little bit slighted probably for the regular season that they had. Let's go the other way and talk a team that's overseeded, and that's Duke. To put teams like Tennessee, Purdue, some of these other teams below Duke and give Duke that 2 seed. A little bit too much respect on brand name, a little bit too much respect in Coach K's last season. A lot of people are picking Duke to go down early, but they haven't been playing well lately, so I think it's going to come true.
And Julian, we know Gonzaga, they've been in the championship 3 times in the last 5 years, never hoisted the trophy. You got Timmy, you got Holmgren, 4 guys in double figures. Is it their tournament to lose? Do you think they finally break through?
No, I like some of those other Gonzaga teams, particularly last year, more than this year. So I don't think that they're going to get there this year. I will say Duke and Texas Tech being the 2 and 3 seeds on the bottom half of that bracket, if they can get there, I think the Zags will win that game. The UConn-Arkansas winner, if we get that game, that's a team that can push Gonzaga. UConn could potentially get an upset there. So those are teams I think could get in there. And then I ultimately have Kentucky meeting the Zags in the Final Four. And that's a game that I like Kentucky in, to be honest. But if Kentucky doesn't make it out and it does wind up being a Purdue or a UCLA coming out of there, or even the top-seeded Baylor, I think that's a team that could also beat Gonzaga. So I have Gonzaga only reaching the Final Four and struggling a little bit on the way.
How about in that 2 to 5 seed window? Do you think anyone in those spots can run the table?
Well, like I just said, Kentucky. I think Kentucky should have been potentially a number 1 seed, and getting in a bracket with Baylor as the 1 seed, I think they essentially are the best team in that region. So I have Kentucky playing against Arizona in the national title game. So I got Kentucky going pretty deep in this thing, maybe even winning it all. It's something that I have a ticket on. And to give you a 5, I think that bracket with Kansas and Auburn is really open for some upsets. I would not be surprised if Iowa got past Kansas and could beat a team like Auburn. I even have them playing a team like LSU in one of my brackets in the Elite 8 and getting into the Final Four, a team out of the Big Ten there that's playing really well offensively, but people forget about their defense, Iowa.
Julian, thank you so much. A wealth of information as always. Make sure to check out Julian on all things social. Don't go anywhere. We're talking more college basketball. It's a tournament here on the Bettor Half Hour.